until summer officially begins. This spring, I made myself a spring TBR. I don't like creating TBRs and then just forgetting about them and not completing them. And I told myself I won't do monthly TBRs anymore, but I will do seasonal TBRs because they are more attainable. So today I wanted to do a reading vlog trying to or attempting to finish my spring TBR. I know we're not going to, but as many books as we can before summer begins and see how far we can make it. So we've got how many days? I think we'll do to the 21st. So that gives me a week and a half. It's not a lot of time. My spring TBR, I had 10 books, and I already know my summer TBR, I'm gonna bring it down. I got 2 classics, Middlemarch and A Room with a View. Haven't read either, started both. Nonfiction is Braiding Sweetgrass and It's Okay That You're Not Okay. I started It's Okay That You're Not Okay, but I'm not really feeling it right now. So I might stop that because honestly, it's a book about grief. I'm not feeling it. I think I'll return to it later on in the year. Fantasy, we had Belladonna and Wicked King. I have finished Belladonna, so that's one. Fiction, we did Demon Copperhead and the Kamogawa Food Detectives. I finished the Kamogawa Food Detectives, so that's 2. And then romance, I did The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels and The Sweetest Revenge. Haven't read either of those. So in the next week, I'm gonna try finishing The Sweetest Revenge, Wicked King, A Room with the View, and we could probably fit The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels because that's really simple and easy, and we'll see from there if we can do maybe another one. I have started The Sweetest Revenge. I started it last night. I'm on page 113, and there's 350 pages in here, so about basically like a third of the way through. This book is about a woman named Amy, and she works in like the film industry, and her boss is her boyfriend. Don't know why she thought that was a good situation to be in. And basically, a big thing happens at work. Let me see what's in the synopsis because I don't want to ruin what is going on right now. Okay, so it does show a lot. So she basically has something happen at work with her boyfriend slash boss that she basically has a drunken fit of revenge on him, gets caught on camera, kind of ruins her career. And so she moves to London, and 2 years later, you're catching up in the timeline with her where she is working in film, but not in the same capacity that she was back home. I don't even know where she is. Then she gets a new neighbor who moves in who is kind of like a TV star who also had kind of a embarrassing thing happen to them, and sparks start to fly between them. But then, turn of events at work, her ex-boyfriend comes and is kind of like her new boss again. So right now we're basically at that point where everything in the synopsis has happened. And so you're kind of meeting Jake, who is the movie star, and you know, he's a little bit shy, kind of like trying to get out of the limelight. And Amy is very opposite. She is very like charismatic, outgoing, but also very self-conscious. She's very self-conscious at the same time. What I didn't really like about Lizzie Dent's writing when I read what did I read? The setup, but I really didn't like the main character, the way that she talked and her like obsession with astrology and stuff. And I'm kind of getting that with Amy, but not as bad. So I'm not going into it like hating the main character right away. So that's why I think I am enjoying this more than I did enjoy the setup. Don't know where it's gonna go from here. That's the update for The Sweetest Revenge. I hope I can finish this like tonight maybe, or tomorrow, and then we can move on to something else. But those are my thoughts. So we've got 2 books read, and by the end of next week, we're gonna hope to have, what, 6 books read? So that won't be bad. 6 out of 10, that's like a 60%. Not horrible. Not horrible. Hi friends. We finally finished a book. I'm here about to go for a run. Not very excited. Me and my friend signed up for a 10K race and it's next week. And so I wanted to get a long run in today. I think today I'm gonna aim for 8K and see if I go longer. I have the Poland and Netherlands game on right now. It's currently 1-1, but I put it on mute. But I finally finished The Sweetest Revenge. I've got it here. I finished it last night. I don't know what I'm gonna rate it yet, but I did like it a lot more than the setup. I found these characters a lot more likable. I find that the main female characters in her books are always like the source of the conflict, and it's kind of frustrating. But I also enjoyed in the setup, I'm pointing there because the setup is right there. In that book and also in The Sweetest Revenge, I really like the cast of characters. I find she writes great side characters. And most of the time, I'm liking the side characters more than I like the main characters. But yeah, I did enjoy this book. I did like it a lot more than the setup. I found it was more intriguing, that I rooted for the characters more. But it was not like anything amazing. Like I wasn't mind blown. I read it mostly on Libby because I just didn't feel like flipping pages, so I was reading it on my Kobo. And you know, I would have been fine just reading it on my Kobo and not actually buying the book. I did buy it at one of the Penguin book sales, so it was just $2, but still. I'm probably going to unhaul both of these books. You guys know, I have so many books. My shelves are packed to the brim. I really want to start just unhauling books that aren't like 4 stars or above. In this case, that's like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna give this like a 3.5 stars. I'm not sure. I'm glad I read it. It was definitely more of a summery read than a spring read, but I kind of felt like it would be. But yeah, one book down. I'm also currently, I think 35-ish% of the way through A Room with a View. I have it over here. Almost at part 2, I think. Yeah, a couple more pages and then I'm at part 2. This one's okay so far. I don't know. I'm not in love with it. It could be because I'm listening to it as an audiobook. So I think the second half of the book I'm going to try to read physically. Because the audiobook is just, it's okay. I'm not very like in love with the characters, but it is interesting. It is a little bit funny as well. But yeah, nothing extraordinary. Maybe we can finish it today actually. How many pages is this? 237, and I'm almost 80 pages in. So we could possibly finish this today and then move on to The Wicked King, which I have that audiobook and physical. So I'll probably tandem read that. So looking good so far. Right now it's 10:30, so we're gonna go run and then come back. It'll probably take me like an hour because I really don't want to go for this run. So I'm just gonna take it slow and hope I get good music on my playlist. I'm gonna stop babbing on because this clip is almost 7 minutes long and go for my run. Talk to you guys soon. Hi friends, it's been a couple days, even though I think I'm in the exact same spot as our last update, so sorry about that. I am currently on my lunch break and I'm reading A Room with a View. I'm trying to finish this today. I'm on page 157. I'm liking it a lot. I don't know, there's something about it that I'm still not obsessed with it, but it's still so intriguing. The drama is funny, a little outlandish just because of the time that it was written in versus like the life that we live in now is just so different, the societal norms. I am liking it, but it's not wowing me, which I'm a little sad about. But we still have what, like 80-ish pages to go, so my mind can be completely changed by the end. So just wanted to give that little update before I finish the book and have some final thoughts. So we're gonna continue reading. I had my lunch and now I'm gonna have a little bowl of frozen grapes. I love grapes, but I love frozen grapes even more. We're gonna enjoy that, read some of this book, and hopefully finish it tonight. And then I'm gonna move on to The Wicked King, which I have is, I think, in the bedroom. So we're gonna move on to that tonight, switch it up. just have to come on here because you know how I was saying like, oh, I don't know how I'm feeling about this book. It's good, but it's not like gripping me and like making me super invested, and I don't like love it, but it's still good. I'm invested. The last like 20 pages have been a hoot and I'm invested. Definitely took a turn. Now I'm on chapter 17 and I'm living my best life. I'm loving this book right now. So this is good. This is looking up. If you've read this book, I think you could see why. But we'll see how it ends. We don't know. We are honestly almost halfway, I think. I just finished chapter 15 and I felt like it's a good time to check in because if you've read this, I guess you would know what happens in chapter 15. I don't know how to feel. I do have a little tab here of where I want to read until tonight. So that's chapter 21, page 205, and I'm currently on chapter 16, page 147. So we're getting there. I have to say I'm liking this a lot more than I like The Cruel Prince. We're kind of in the thick of it and trying to figure things out, and there's enough stuff going on to keep you intrigued, but it's not too much that's going on. And I feel like I've got a grasp of the world, a little bit of the politics, and also the people, because sometimes when you're introduced to a whole new world, like even just understanding who is who can be so complicated. And so I feel like I've kind of gotten back into the groove of this world. I'm not flying through it, but I am reading it at a great pace for me, especially lately. So I'm having a blast. I'm enjoying this a lot and can't wait to see where the story goes. Can't really go into much about the plot without getting into spoiler territory. Still obsessed with Carden. I really liked him in book 1, really liking him in book 2. Jude, I have to say I'm liking a lot more this book. Not as annoying as she was in book 1. And I love Jude's dad. I know he's kind of like a villain, but like, I just love him. I don't know why. So we continue and see what will happen as the plot thickens. We have finally finished a book, or The Wicked King. We just finished and I've got thoughts. So I thought while I put together a snack plate, we can talk about what I feel about this book. I am getting ready to go to the art gallery, but I'm hungry, so I wanted to do a little snack plate that I usually do at nighttime, but I'm gonna do it now and have that before I leave. But we finally finished The Wicked King. Wow. I am surprised that I liked it as much as I did. Honestly, quite shocked. I don't remember what I talked about this book, but this is the second book quickly to kind of talk about. Can you see me? Talk about what this book is about. It is the second book in a trilogy, the Cruel Prince trilogy. It is like a fae romantasy type book or series. I believe it is YA. The world that it is about is Elfham. You're following Jude, who is a mortal, so she's not a fairy, but she has like half siblings that are fairies basically, and her parents are killed by her mom's ex-lover who is a fae, and he basically takes her and her twin sister, younger brother, and then she has an older sister, and they go live in the Feyland. And so you kind of follow that along where, you know, she's not really accepted in that world because she is human and she's not Fey. A lot of shit happens. So this is the second book, and the first book I think I gave 3 stars. It wasn't my favorite book. I found it boring in some spots. I honestly didn't really like Jude in the first book, and in this book I'm like obsessed with her. I am so down for her. I really enjoy her character arc. And I feel like she's gotten so much more likable and that you just cheer her on. Got two baby bells. I'm gonna cut an apple and then have some crackers and maybe some nuts with it. Anyways, so this book I feel like was so much more fast paced. A lot was going on. It was exciting. The romance is such a slow burn. My God. And the ending was quite the cliffhanger. I was not expecting that, honestly. I was expecting some shit to go down. Let's be real. It's fantasy. But I don't know. I wasn't expecting that. It was very out of left field. So I really want to get into book 3. But I was tandemly listening to this as an audiobook and actually really like the audiobook narrator. So I want to see if the third one is the same narrator and then put it on hold so that I can read it tandemly because I really like the experience of this audiobook. Got some crackers here. These are Mary crackers. We're gonna do some Brazil nuts. Just 3 for selenium. Let's go take our snack plate and finish our conversation. All that to say and conclude, I don't know yet what I'm gonna rate The Wicked King, but I'm thinking a 4-star, maybe even 4.5. I need to reflect a little bit more because I did have troubles getting into this book when I tried reading it like 3 months ago, but it could be like it just wasn't the right time. So I am very, very pleasantly surprised about this sequel and really, really enjoyed it. So I'm so happy that we are one more book down on my Spring TBR and that I also really liked the book. So it's kind of making me excited to continue. I kind of really want to start The Queen of Nothing, but we're gonna take a break from that world and enter a new world for a bit. So I have the next book we have here that we want to finish for this vlog, and that is The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels by India Holton. This is another book I've heard really great things about. It's about a lady thief that must save her aunt from a crazed pirate and his dangerously charming henchmen in this fantastical historical romance. So we'll be reading this for the next few days, and I'm hoping to finish it this weekend. We'll see. I have quite the weekend ahead of me. It's Friday night now, but tomorrow I am taking the train to go see my friend, and then we're going to spend the day together on Saturday, and then we are going to do a 10-kilometer race on Sunday. So don't have a lot of time to read, but I'll be reading tonight on my train ride to go to the art gallery tonight before bed, and then tomorrow the train ride is like an hour and 40 minutes, so I think I'll have ample time to read. I feel like we've been reading pretty good books this week. We read also A Room with a View, which was great too. I really enjoyed that one. And then what did we read before it? Oh my god, am I blanking? I'm here for the final update. So I know my last update, I believe I was saying I was going to start the Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels, and you can see I still have my bookmark in here, but my weekend was so crazy that I only got 14 pages in, and honestly, I just wasn't feeling it. I just don't think it's the time for me to read this book, and I didn't want to force it, and it's officially summer, so I'm going to put this down for now, and we'll revisit it sometime in the near future. But I wanted to give a little bit of a wrap up and final thoughts of the 3 books that we read together off of my Spring TBR. First read The Sweetest Revenge, and my copy also got a little damaged, some water damage, which is so sad. I will be unhauling this book, but I'm very sad it's just not gonna be very pretty anymore for the next owner. But I enjoyed this book. I liked it better than the setup, but it's not a favorite romance. I'm probably gonna not really think about it anymore in the future. I'm unhauling it to make some room on my bookshelves for more romances that I will love. And I just don't know if Lizzie Dent is the author for me. I don't know. There's just something about them that I'm not obsessed with. I don't know if I should keep trying with the books that she has or if I should just get over it and continue on with the authors that I know I like and also exploring other new authors. Then we read A Room with a View, which was our one classic this vlog. I enjoyed this. I gave it a 4 stars. I've thought about this one a lot because I loved the second half of the book. It was invigorating to read. It was exciting. It was filled with so much commentary and just exploring what life was like and the societal norms when this book was written. But I had a really hard time getting into this book for the past few years where I've tried and tried and tried and just wasn't getting into it. So I feel like I also need to take that into account when I think about my rating. I think though in the future, if I were to ever revisit this book, it wouldn't be a problem to get into it because I know what to expect and I feel like then I could get more out of it. But the first few times that I tried reading this without knowing the context and knowing what was going to happen and all the things I was going to enjoy about the second half of the book kept me from, or stopped me from going and continuing the book. But yeah, I enjoyed the characters in this book. Not all of them, like some of the extended family wasn't a fan of, but I loved the main character. The love was so fascinating and interesting. It was just a great character-driven book and I had a blast reading it and I'm happy that I finally got through it because again, as I've said a million times now, I loved the second half of this book. It was also very easy to read. Like the language is so easy. It flows well. It's beautifully written, very approachable, and not a book where I was taking like 4 minutes to read one page like I have with some classics. You know, Ian Forster, his writing is just very easy to follow, and I can appreciate that very, very much. I think it would get a higher rating with a secondary read or with a second read, but with just my experience of not being able to get into this book for my own personal reasons, I feel like I cannot give it a 5 stars, even though the second half of the book just blew my mind. So, loved it. Very highly recommend it. And then lastly, we read The Wicked King by Holly Black. This is the second book in the Cruel Prince trilogy. I think it's called the Folk of the Air trilogy. And I was very pleasantly surprised of this book. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm giving this a 4 stars. I felt like it was so much more engaging than the first book. You understand the world. Jude is a lot more likable in this book than she was in the first book, at least for me. It's a fantasy world, very easy to follow. It's not very complicated, very easy to read. It's just a good time. The ending was fantastic. It was unexpected and I cannot wait to see where the final book takes us and I cannot wait to start the final book. It was a great time. I don't really have any complaints. I just don't think it was a 5 star for me. Again, this is another book where I read it maybe like the first 50 pages, I think about 2 months ago, and I just put it down. I was like, I'm not into this right now. But when I started it again this time, I flew through this book. There was no hesitation for me to keep going. I was intrigued. I was loving it. It could have also been that I was also tandemly listening to the audiobook and I really enjoyed the audiobook narration. So if you find that you're kind of having issues with getting into this book, maybe switch to the audiobook version because I found it really good and this world is very easy to follow, especially because this is the second book and you've already kind of got the gist of everything in the first book. I find the audiobook is easy to follow. This was the stack that we attempted this week and the 3 that we read this week. So overall we read 5 out of 10 books. So we've got a 50%. Honestly, not that bad. Compared to my other TBRs where I read maybe like 2 books out of the whatever amount that I've picked over many, many different TBRs, I am quite proud with this, and I'm excited to do my summer TBR. So that will be coming very soon. So we'll see what I end up choosing. I have to go through my bookshelves and kind of also some new releases and stuff to see exactly what I'm gonna read. Thank you for sticking around for this vlog. Let me know if you also curate seasonal TBRs. I really enjoyed doing that this year, and I think that's the way I'm gonna do it from now on instead of monthly TBRs. I hope you all enjoyed this vlog, reading vlog type thing, whatever it was. I'm not sure how it ended up, but we'll see once I finish editing. And I will see you all very, very soon. Bye.
Lazy Sunday mornings, hiding under covers. I don't mind staying in with you. Play your favorite movie, laying right beside me. I don't mind when it's just